Hi people, welcome to the Run Testers. It's Kieran here, and we've got a big head-to-head for you. We are putting two of the top-tier carbon racers up against each other. We've got the ASICS Metaspeed Sky Paris, a very popular carbon race shoe among the run testers. We've run a lot of PBs in this shoe. That is going up against the newer Adidas Adios Pro 4, another carbon race shoe that's had some significant updates for 2025 with new uppers and a switched-up midsole. So which of these shoes is the better all-out racer? Let's get into it in our ASICS Metaspeed Sky Paris versus Adidas Adios Pro 4 review. Quick details first, then starting with the stack height. And the Adidas Adios Pro 4 is one of the lowest stack carbon races. It packs 39mm in the heel, 33mm in the forefoot for a 6mm drop. The Metaspeed Sky Paris has 39.5mm in the heel, 34.5mm in the forefoot for a 5mm drop. On weight, the Adios Pro 4 comes in at 202 grams or 7.1 ounces in my men's UK 8.5 test shoe. That's lighter than the Pro 3, but still a shade heavier than the Metaspeed Sky Paris, which comes in under 200 grams. At 187 grams or 6.6 ounces in the same size. Price, and both shoes land at £220 in the UK or $250 in the US. Let's give you a quick shoe comparison then, starting with the midsole. And the ASICS Metaspeed Sky Paris has a new midsole featuring a big stack of Flight Foam Turbo Plus Piba foam. There's a full-length flat carbon plate that sits higher in the midsole and has been widened in the forefoot region to improve the overall bounce from the foam during toe-off. The Adios Pro 4 midsole features a new Light Strike Pro that's tuned differently and provides a little extra softness compared to the Adios Pro 3. The forefoot rocker has also been moved back to boost efficiency. It's now positioned at 60% of the length of the shoe. That's the same as you'll find in the Pro Evo 1 from Adidas. The Adios Pro 4 also carries the same carbon energy rods, you could just see them poking through here, as you got in the Adios Pro 3. Now up top, the ASICS has a light, breathable motion wrap upper 2.0. That's nicely perforated throughout to keep things really light and cool. It's sort of super comfortable. The Adidas uses a brand new light lock uppers. They've got these new locking bands that wrap the foot for a snug and secure fit. They provide some additional support. Now these one-way stretch woven mesh uppers also aim to address one of the biggest gripes with the Adios Pro 3. That was that some runners found the fit somewhat fussy. The Pro 4 has thin wrapping tongues that are now stitched in to prevent them moving around. They have a little more lace pinch busting padding than you'll get on the Metaspeeds, which also have a free moving flimsier tongue here. The Adios Pro 4 also has a simplified lacing structure compared to the 3 that hopes to make it easier to get a good fit and reduce some of the pressure points that we got around the toe knuckles, boosting overall comfort. The Adidas also uses regular laces, while the Metaspeed Sky Paris has the really handy lace lock laces. Onto the heel collars, and the Metaspeed has more padding, or at least more traditional looking padding, and a bit more structure in the heel counter than the Adios Pro 4, which keeps things to kind of a racy minimal with internal pads. Everything is a bit more flexible back here on the collars as well. If you flip them over, and both shoes have the usual fairly thin and minimal strategic rubber outsole for grip and to protect the high impact areas. The Adios Pro 4 uses light traction outsole for the main part, with a strategic pad of continental rubber here to boost the grip on that key landing point. There's a bit more rubber covering the key impact zones in the heel too than you'll get on the Metaspeed Sky Paris. So then in testing, I ran in a UK 8.5, which is my regular ASICS size, and I found the fit for this shoe spot on. It's snug and racy enough, the heels hold well for me, no slipping or rubbing. I got the midfoot lockdown dialed in really easily. I had a smidgen of lace pinch deeper into the marathons that I did and on the longer runs, but nothing crazy. The toe box feels airy enough for a race shoe, and there's good clearance across the top of the shoes. That's crucial here. Lengthwise, I'd say they're okay too, just about, though I did get one bruised toenail after my marathon test. But hold on to that thought. I also ran in my regular Adidas running shoe size, which is also a UK 8.5. And on the whole, I found the fit much improved on this shoe, the Adios Pro 4, over the Pro 3. It's much easier to get on and positioned and locked down than the fiddlier Adios Pro 3. The improved stitched in tongues I think really help, and the modified lace eyelets successfully remove any pinching or rubbing around the toe knuckles, which I found a problem in the last shoe. Generally, I found the heel hold was reliable and the midfoot lockdown was secure. However, I had some bigger issues with the length of the toe box and the kind of narrowness of the toe box. It does narrow quite sharply, and perhaps it sort of comes up almost like quarter of a size too short. I only noticed this deep into my marathon test where my big toenails caught the end of the shoe in quite a bad way. I ended up some of the worst bruised toenails that I've had from any shoe for quite some time, weeks after they were still a problem. On shorter runs, that's not a problem in the shoe. Going half a size up may well solve it. However, I do worry that going half a size up might create problems elsewhere in the fit of the shoe. What I really want is just a quarter size more room lengthwise and maybe a bit more clearance across the top of the toe box here. Now, I'm not the only runner who's reported this problem, so I pay close attention to length when choosing your size in the Adios Pro 4. Now, in testing, it's safe to say that I've put many more miles into the Metaspeed Sky Paris, both in training and in racing. It's a shoe that I used last year to clock PBs at the 5k and marathon distance, and it was one of my top shoes of the year. I've put in more than 50 miles in the Adios Pro 4, and while I'm yet to race in them, I have done a solo marathon test. Did it around the streets of London. You can check that video out that's on the channel now. We're going to get into the two shoes then. For me, the Metaspeed Sky Paris is ASICS' best carbon plate race shoe yet. It's one of, if not the best option for chasing fast times for everything up to the marathon. It has all the ingredients you look for in a good carbon race shoe. It's light, racy, airy uppers, that big stack of bouncy midsole foam and a stiffness from the carbon plate are there. That adds some extra pop. I like the stiffness in the midsole unit along with the just right cushioning that dampens the road impact without leaving you feeling completely disconnected from the road. It's light but cushioned, agile and precise. In some ways it reminds me a little bit of the Vaporfly Next Percent 2, going back that way. If you're confident you're in good racing shape, it's a marathon race shoe contender for sure. Now, the updates to the Adios Pro 4 also work. The uppers are a huge improvement. The midsole packs all the punch you look for in a carbon race shoe. The grippy outsole holds the road with excellent reliability. The shoe feels durable for a carbon racer. This is a shoe that definitely works best when you're moving fast, landing mid to forefoot. It responds better to locked in form and top speed efforts. And I think it's right up there with very close to the ASICS Metaspeed Sky Paris and the Nike Alphafly Next Percent 3 as a top race day shoe. Now, I also did a side-by-side mile with one shoe on each foot to really tease out the differences, and here's what I found. So I've just done my side-by-side mile. I've got the Metaspeed Sky Paris on the left foot. I've got the Adios Pro 4 on the right foot. I did a mixture of paces here, so I was doing a lap of this park here fast, kind of beyond marathon pace a little bit, probably up to sort of between 5k and marathon pace, and then I did a lap where I was moving slowly to test how they are when you kind of rock back and you're running a bit easier, where you're going to need a bit more protection. I knew this coming into the test, but when you put them both on your feet, you realise just how equally high energy shoes both of these are. They are really punchy, really lively. You can feel that foam really returning. It's got a big bounce to it. It's got a big energy to it. You can feel the combinations of the plates and the foam working together to really propel you forwards. The one thing I will say that I noticed difference, the Adidas Adios Pro 4 feels higher. It's only marginally higher in the stack, I think, but it feels much higher. And particularly almost down the spine of the shoe, down the central core of the shoe, I feel like there's more volume of foam underfoot when I'm running, particularly when I'm landing further back on my heels. That goes away a bit when you're up running mid to forefoot, which is kind of how I would really probably be running at my marathon pace. So I'd be mid to forefoot, just engaging that front section. It disappears a little bit like that, but when you land further back, you can really feel a bit more volume of foam under the middle of the foot. The other sensation I get with the Adios Pro 4 that I don't get with the Metaspeed Sky Paris, and it's something I prefer in the Sky Paris, is the Adios Pro 4, there's just a little less consistency in the landing. I feel a little bit more wobble. There's almost a bit of encouragement for my foot to kind of roll to the outside. I don't suffer from overpronation, but I do notice that it's kind of a slight little lean. I don't get that on the Metaspeed Sky Paris. It just feels more even, more balanced. I feel more reliable underfoot. It's a kind of more consistent platform to run off regardless of where you land on the shoes. The other thing I've really picked up though, the ASICS Metaspeed Sky Paris feels a little bit flatter as a result. And I think that makes the Adios Pro 4 feel bouncier and slightly more energetic. These are both fast shoes. They both feel energetic, but there's definitely a bit more spring in the Adios Pro 4, but it's not quite as controlled. And I actually think I prefer the control of the Metaspeed Sky Paris, which I think just makes it feel like you're using the energy a little bit more consistently and a little bit more to your advantage. There's just a reliability and a consistency, I think, over and above the Adios Pro 4. The other thing is you can, in the uppers, when they're on the foot and you're running like this, you do feel the shortening in the toe box on the Adios Pro 4, even from just that mile. I've just had them back on my feet for the first time in a while. A bit more length in the Metaspeed Sky Paris. Still not loads of length towards the end, but they're just a bit more roomy in the toe box overall. Both have got kind of a snug race fit, but yeah, the Metaspeed Sky Paris, I think, is just a little bit more accommodating. So even as I run home here from that mile, a very kind of slow pace, I think what you really notice, there's just a smoothness to the transitions. Maybe that's what I'm getting at. The ASICS Metaspeed Sky Paris is just a little smoother across the whole transition through that midsole, where there are some feelings of like different bits working in different ways under the Adios Pro 4. That goes away when you're really at it, running at a fast pace, moving with real intent mid to forefoot. It doesn't affect so much because you're just landing on that nice midsole foam up front, that nice wedge. But when you're moving slow like this, the ASICS Metaspeed Sky Paris just feels like a smoother shoe and the Adios than the Adios Pro 4, which I think overall I kind of like that a bit more. Verdict then, and when it comes to the ride, the energy and the all-out race potential, I think both of these shoes are excellent racers. They're light, lively, with a balance of punch and protection that's good for chasing fast times on race day, definitely up to the marathon distance. Choosing between them could come down to a couple of things though. The first one for me is fit. The toenail woes of the Adios Pro 4 are problematic. Not everyone suffers them. I did. If you do, it's not great. A bit more room in the length of this shoe and it will get extra marks. It's not quite there. The ASICS was better on that front for me. Then there's a reliability underfoot. The ASICS is more stable and I find the transition smoother and more natural than the Adios Pro 4, particularly landing further back. I think the Adios Pro 4 gives more bounce and energy overall, but I like the controlled energy of the Metaspeed Sky Paris slightly more. It's a bit smoother. Would I happily chase a PB in both shoes? Well, the answer to that is yes. Which one would I rather do it in? Based on those fine details between two good shoes, I think it would still be the ASICS Metaspeed Sky Paris. So there you have it. That's been my head-to-head look at the ASICS Metaspeed Sky Paris and the new Adidas Adios Pro 4. I hope you found it useful. Give us a like if you did. Drop us a comment if you've got a take on either or both of these shoes. Maybe hit the subscribe button if you're not already subbed and you want to see when other videos land. Speaking of other videos, if you're interested in detailed reviews of both of these shoes, I'll pop them on the screen now. Otherwise, thank you very much for stopping by, and until next time, happy running, people.